God says, "Chosen one, when you get rich, tell no one." This big surprise, I need to tell you something that took me a long time to fully understand, and that most people learn only after losing something they should have protected. The moment your life begins to shift, when the blessing you prayed for finally starts moving in your direction, when the door you knocked on for years finally begins to open, that is the most dangerous moment of your entire journey. Not because of what's coming toward you, but because of what you're about to do next. Most people, the instant they feel the wind of favor at their back, do the one thing that quietly unravels everything. They announce it. They tell people who aren't ready to celebrate them. They share with circles that haven't been tested. They broadcast a testimony that hasn't finished being written yet. And then they stand confused when resistance appears from directions they never expected, from people they trusted, from relationships they thought were solid, from the very community they ran to first. God said, "Tell no one," not because your blessing is shameful, but because it is sacred. And sacred things require protection before they require proclamation. Let me speak directly to where you are right now, because I think I know. You have been in a season of waiting that has felt almost unbearable. You have prayed the same prayer so many times the words have started to feel hollow. You have watched people around you receive what you asked for: opportunities, abundance, relationships, breakthroughs, and you have smiled on the outside while something quiet and aching moved through you on the inside. And now something is beginning to shift. You can feel it. A door is cracking open. A number is changing. A conversation happened that felt different. Something in your spirit knows that what you've been carrying in faith is finally beginning to manifest in the physical. And the first thing you want to do, the most human, most understandable thing in the world, is tell someone. I'm asking you to pause before you do, because what I'm about to share with you has the potential to protect everything that is coming if you are willing to hear it fully. Every great thing that has ever been built started as something fragile, a seed underground, an idea not yet spoken, a baby not yet born. And in that fragile forming stage, before roots have deepened, before walls have been built, before the thing has become strong enough to withstand the weight of public opinion, exposure is not celebration. It is threat. When God is growing something in your life, there is a developmental period where that thing requires darkness, silence, and protection, not light, noise, and announcement. A farmer does not dig up the seed every morning to show his neighbors how well it's growing. He trusts the process. He protects the ground. He waits for what is underground to become strong enough to break the surface on its own terms. Your blessing is in that stage right now. Protect the ground. This is the part that is hardest to accept, especially about people you love. There are individuals in your life who genuinely love you and simultaneously struggle with seeing you elevated. Not because they are evil people, but because your advancement activates something unresolved in them, a wound around their own worth, their own timing, their own unanswered prayers. They will smile at your announcement. They will hug you. They will say the right words. And then they will go home and feel something they won't fully admit to themselves. And that unspoken feeling, whether expressed through subtle discouragement, through a word spoken to the wrong person, through a prayer that asks God to slow you down rather than speed you up, carries energy. You are not responsible for managing their journey, but you are responsible for protecting yours. Silence is not secrecy. It is wisdom. When you share a dream, a plan, or a blessing before it has fully arrived, you open it to the opinions of people who are evaluating something incomplete. They see chapter 3 and make a verdict about the whole book. They see the rough draft and decide it will never be a masterpiece. And because you shared it before it was ready, before it could speak for itself, their doubt enters your atmosphere before your faith has had time to calcify. Let the blessing finish forming. Let the results speak. Let the completed work introduce itself. A testimony delivered after the victory lands entirely differently than an announcement made during the battle. This one requires honesty, and I say it with complete respect. There is a version of announcement that is genuinely about gratitude and testimony, and there is a version that is about being seen, validated, and celebrated. Both can feel the same from the inside, but God knows the difference. And sometimes He asks us to stay quiet, not only to protect the blessing from others, but to protect us from ourselves. The discipline of sitting with a private victory, of being grateful without requiring an audience, of trusting God's recognition over human applause, that discipline builds a character strong enough to sustain what's coming. Because what is coming will be larger than what you've held before, and it will require a version of you that silence has been quietly forging. There is a reason military operations are built on the principle of classified information. The mission is not secret because it is shameful. It is secret because the enemy, having advanced knowledge, changes the outcome. You have opposition in your life. Some of it is spiritual. Some of it is human people who, consciously or unconsciously, do not want to see you win. When you announce your blessing publicly before it has fully landed, you give that opposition time to organize. When you stay quiet, when you move in silence, build in silence, shift in silence, you arrive at your destination, before anyone has had time to block the road. Let them be surprised by what God has already finished. Some relationships in your life were designed for a specific season, not for every season. The friendship that sustained you through struggle may not be structured to celebrate your success. The community that surrounded you in need may not be able to shift into surrounding you in abundance without something in the dynamic fracturing. This is not a character indictment of those people. It is simply the reality that relationships have load-bearing limits and elevation changes the weight. Going quiet in your season of breakthrough gives you time to assess which relationships can expand with you and which ones are already beginning to strain at the seams. That discernment, made privately, protects both you and them from a public fracture that serves no one. This is the surprise that the title of this message was pointing toward, and it is the one that changes everything when you finally understand it. The way you handle a blessing while it is still forming tells God, and tells you whether you are ready for the full version of what He has prepared. Can you be grateful without being boastful? Can you receive without immediately performing? Can you trust the process enough to protect it rather than rushing to display it? Can you honor the sacred nature of what is happening by treating it with the seriousness it deserves? These are not rhetorical questions. They are active tests, and how you respond to them determines the speed and the scale of what comes next. Staying quiet in this season is not just wisdom. It is an act of faith that signals to heaven, I trust this enough to protect it. I am ready to steward what you are releasing. Here is something I have watched happen repeatedly in the lives of people who honor this principle of sacred silence. The right people find out anyway, not through gossip, not through your announcement, but through the undeniable. Evidence of a life that is shifting through your peace, your posture, your energy, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing what God is doing, even when no one else can see it yet. The favor on your life becomes visible before you say a word. The elevation speaks for itself, and the people who are genuinely assigned to your next chapter are drawn to what they observe, not what you announced. You do not need to market a genuine miracle. It markets itself. There is a moment coming, and I need you to hold this vision clearly, where you'll be standing on the other side of everything you are currently walking through, where the blessing will be fully manifested, fully established, fully undeniable. And from that place, the story you tell, the complete story, with the struggle and the silence and the patience and the arrival, will reach someone who is exactly where you are right now, someone who is in their own season of waiting, someone who needs to hear not just that the blessing came, but how you protected it, how you trusted through the silence, how you refused to announce what God hadn't finished yet. That testimony, complete, battle-tested, and delivered from a place of full arrival, carries a weight that no premature announcement ever could. It will genuinely change lives. It will give someone else permission to keep going. But it requires that you first trust the process enough to let the story finish before you start telling it. Chosen One and I use that phrase not casually, but because I believe you are reading. This for a reason here is what I want you to hold on to when you leave this message today. The silence God is asking of you in this season is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the sacred discipline of a person being made ready for something larger than what they have held before. The blessing is real. The favor is real. The shift is real. And precisely because it is real, precisely because it is genuinely, finally happening, it deserves the protection of your discretion, the covering of your patience, and the honor of your trust. Tell no one yet, not because you are ashamed, but because you are wise enough to understand that some things are too important to risk on premature exposure. Move quietly, build faithfully, trust completely. And when the time comes, when the blessing has fully landed, when the walls are built, when the evidence is undeniable, you will not need to announce it. Everyone will already see it, and the story you carry will be complete enough to carry someone else. Hold on. Stay quiet. Keep going. If this message found you at exactly the right moment, if something in it confirmed what your spirit already knew, subscribe. Every week we bring you the kind of deep, honest, spirit-level content that meets you where you actually are and speaks to what you actually need. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are being prepared. And your moment is closer than it has ever been.